Hi, hello, my name is Gomer Joseph. I hope you've all been having a great day so far. Welcome back to another True Crimes Tuesdays video. If you are new, I welcome you. Before I discuss today's case, I'd like to mention my Christian suspense book series, which is Never As It Seems. The first book in the series is available on Amazon, and you can read it on any device on the Kindle app for free. Not only that, but I do have another book series, which is the Juliet Clark book series, which is about a Haitian American teen sleuth who happens to be a successful true crime YouTuber. The first book in the series is titled Murderer at Heart, so the links will be in the description box below if you're interested. Today, I'll be discussing the unsolved murder of Faye Dollar. As I was researching this case, I found it to be very heartbreaking, and it's devastating to hear how her case has been cold for this long. All people really know is where she was last seen and how she was found. Now, I encourage you all to do your own research with this case and not to just look at my video for all of the information. Here we go. I believe that Faye Dollar was born around like 1941 or 1942. I do know that later on in her life, she was married to a man named Daniel, and after the marriage, the two had two sons together named Chad and Cameron, and they would raise their kids in Atlanta, Georgia. Faye was a high school math teacher, and she was pretty adored by her students and coworkers. Later on in their marriage, Faye and Donald, who was, a high school basketball coach at another high school, the two of them had troubles in their relationship, and because of these troubles, it didn't look like it could be resolved for them. So they would divorce in September of 1980. This was a pretty rough divorce. Pretty much with the relationship between Faye and Donald, friends and family claimed that Donald mistreated Faye throughout the marriage, but Donald denies that he ever mistreated his ex-wife. After the divorce, Faye would get full custody of the boys. Now, in November 30th of 1980, Faye is 38 at this point, and she's ready to leave the house at like 9 p.m. Now, again, she left her house to run an errand, and I would assume that she lived in a safe neighborhood and that where she was going, she wouldn't be too far away from the house and planned on getting back home before the boys had the chance to wake up. So she pretty much was planning to get back home as soon as possible. Now, I want y'all to really keep this in mind. This is the early 1980s. So I guess around this time, because it's not as crazy as things are right now, I would assume that was like pretty typical for parents to leave their kids alone like that, as long as they wouldn't be away for long, because again, that nowadays, it's pretty risky for your parents to leave their kids alone like that, especially at nighttime. After Faye left the house, she was never seen alive again. The next morning, her sons Cameron, who is 9 years old, and Chad, who is 4 years old, they wake up and they notice that their mom is not home. So the two boys, they look outside the window and they notice that her car is nowhere to be found either. Naturally, like, your mom is not there, and clearly she didn't get back home last night, so naturally the two boys called their father Donald. After Donald found out that Faye hadn't come back home, this worried him to the point where he would call the cops to report Faye missing. Now, the police looked into the house and they saw that she hadn't taken her clothes with her. So because of that, they assumed that she was planning to be gone for a short time, but that just boggles my mind as to why they had that mindset. Like, I understand that her goal was to like leave, for a short time, but like, why would she be gone like overnight like that? Why would they think that she'd be gone for a short time when she didn't come back home for her kids because they had to get ready for school? Why wouldn't she come back home for her kids, and why would she just let them sleep through the night if she was going to be gone for a short time, because she might as well have just like left them with like family or with their father. So if she planned on taking a trip, you'd think that the police would assume that Faye again would leave the boys with somebody else, while she's not under their care. Like, you would think that she would place the boys in somebody else's care while she was away. So when they found out that Faye had never missed a day of teaching without letting anyone know, that's when the police decided to take her disappearance more seriously. On December 4th of 1980, the police arrived at this place called the Admiral Benbow Inn, which is like a hotel in the area. And as they were, in the hotel parking lot, they did find Faye's car. They pretty much found the vehicle a bit later, because it was said that like Donald gave them the wrong license plate number, but they were somehow able to get the right one and, correct that mistake. Inside of the car, Faye's belongings were found, but when they looked into the trunk, they found something horrific. They found Faye's dead body, which had no clothes. And the thing is that her boys remembered that she clearly had clothes on before she left, and that she was specifically wearing a red dress before she left the house. Since Faye's body was found deceased, this has clearly turned into a homicide investigation. So after finding Faye's dead body, the investigators interviewed hotel security guards and hotel guests, and the security guards and the guests stated that they didn't see Faye's vehicle until that day. Another thing is that Faye wasn't listed as a guest in the hotel, so the investigators believed that someone drove it there from another location days, before, well, days after she disappeared, or days after she was killed, but they just didn't know, where this location was. They don't know exactly where this killer drove from when they parked the car in the hotel parking lot. Of course, I can understand that Faye's death affected her loved ones and, most importantly, her boys, because the thing is that they lost their mother so young. Like, again, like they were like 9 and 4 years old, and they just heard their last memory, like, she's just there, like, she's just saying goodnight, and she's gonna go ahead and run an errand and then come right back home. But then all of a sudden she doesn't come back home, and they find out that she's never coming back home ever again. And I can imagine, that even her students had, they were mourning her as well, because, you have this teacher who you see like every weekday, and, all of a sudden you don't have this math teacher who you adored. Shortly after her death, there was an autopsy, and the autopsy revealed that Faye died due to a fatal blow to the head with a blunt instrument. Now, the police claimed that they had an idea of what the blunt instrument was, but for some reason decided to keep that knowledge to themselves. After the funeral, because of the messy divorce, people started looking at Donald, and they felt like he was suspicious, and they would even leave threats over the phone. Faye's family was also suspicious of him because of how bad their marriage ended, but Donald claimed innocence. He stated that he took a polygraph test and was always cooperative with the police. So the police didn't see him as a suspect or person of interest. So pretty much after the autopsy revealed exactly how Faye died, there weren't really any leads after that. So sadly, the case went cold, and to this day, unfortunately, the case is still cold. Now, if you're watching this and you have any information at all, please be a snitch. Call 911 or call the Atlanta Police Department, which is 404-614-6544. It's been almost 42 full years since Faye senselessly lost her life. Like, my prayers go out to her loved ones, especially her sons. Like, again, they were so young when they lost their mother, and it's just devastating to know that they lived most of their life without her than with her, and that's a sort of pain that is just unbearable. And even though so much time has passed, I'm positive that her sons still want answers, and I do pray that God will provide them with the answers that they've desperately been searching for all of these years. The God that I serve, the God of the Bible, is a God of justice. He knows exactly who took Faye's life and will make sure that her killer pays for what they did. I thank you all for taking the time in your day to watch this video. If you did like this video, please feel free to hit the like button. If you have any thoughts on this case at all, please leave your thoughts in the comment section below. If you'd like to see more videos from me, please feel free to subscribe and click the bell to be notified about the next video. If there's a certain true crime case that you'd like me to cover, go ahead and let me know. I will see y'all for our next True Crime Tuesdays, and I will talk to y'all later.